Oh, hello there, it's me, Miss April. Welcome to part 1 of the Maker Exchange Silhouette tutorials. Let's start by talking about scissors. Scissors, a device used for cutting materials such as paper, cloth, and hair, consisting of 2 sharp blades that are joined in the middle and 2 handles with holes to put your fingers through. Also, this isn't really a dictionary. Now, scissors are very useful when creating, making, and crafting. But after a while, cutting becomes a long and tiring process. There are many tools that help us makers make, and we should consider them our friends. Behold, a silhouette cameo, and you're probably asking yourself, what is it? Well, in short, it is an electronic cutting machine, but there are many things that you can do with it. So the first step is to install the software, and you can do so from their website. This webpage will give you information on the current version, the link so you can download for Mac or Windows. It also gives you all the compatibility information and also the file size. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the 64-bit one and open up the setup wizard, and I'm just going to click next, and install. When you first open the software, you're going to see this page right here. This is where you're going to make your designs. It might show the page setup right on this side. What you're looking at is the cutting mat, essentially. So go ahead and click on page setup, show grid, because I want to see those lines like I would on the cutting mat. This area is called the active cut area. I'm going to go over and change divisions from 4 to 1, and that will give me 12 squares going left to right and 12 squares going up and down. Each square is a 1 inch by 1 inch square. I do this because most cutting mats are laid out like this, so that makes it really helpful. The next thing we're going to do is go to the navigation tabs right at the top, and you're going to click on store. And that's going to open up the design store. So this is where you can download all these designs. Some of them are free and some of them you do have to pay. So let's just go through it and see what is available on here. So here we have a greeting card. It gives you the description of what it is, and some of them do provide instructions, so that's really cool. And you would just add it to the cart if you were to get that one. There's a lot of ways that you can search for what you need. You can use the search bar, or you can just go ahead and browse through it through using the filters. I'm just going to go ahead and click on sort, and I'm going to change it from to low to high, and it's going to give you the free ones at the top. There isn't much to choose from for the free ones, but they do offer some that actually stay on the design store for a while. Some of them are taken down, so just use whichever ones you'd like. Like this 3D prawn, that one's really cool. You can change the paper, make it however you want. They also have this low poly facial mask that you can also download. So again, these are your options. You do need a design in order for you to make your first cut, but I'm going to show you how you can make one instead of downloading one. So we're back in Silhouette Studio, and I'm going to show you the tools that you see on the left hand side. Once we're done going through them, you're going to be able to make a simple design. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one is the Select tool. The Select tool allows you to select any of the images that are on the screen. it is your default tool, but since we don't have anything yet, I'll be showing you that later. The Edit Points tool allows you to edit any points of your image, to move them around or remove them. You can also do this by double-clicking on the selected image, so I'll show you that once we have an image. So now we're going to do the Line tool, and in the Line tool you'll be able to create one single straight line. You can do lines going across, so horizontally, and you can also do lines going vertically. And as you can see, it is also giving you the size of the line. So you can make it any size. You just might want to keep it within the cut area. So I just created like a tic-tac-toe thing, or a pound sign, or a hashtag, but this isn't something that I wanted to make. So let's see if we can try to make a line that is 5 inches long. It can honestly be pretty tricky to get it to be exactly 5 inches long. So I'm just going to click out of it and then select it. And then at the top, we're going to change the width to be 5 inches by typing it in our keyboard. And you can change the size at any point as long as you select it and change the width. So now that we have it selected, we're just going to click delete on our keyboard, and that's going to erase it. We're going to go ahead and try to draw a straight line. If you hold down Shift while you're drawing, it is going to do a straight line, and it's not going to let you go past that. It'll only let you do it at 45-degree increments. So you can do a 45-degree line, and you can do a 90-degree line, and a 180-degree line. So again, we would hold down Shift so that we can get those straight lines. If you don't hold down Shift, you can create lines at any angle. So I'm just going to select the lines, and I'm just going to move them up. I don't really need them, but this is just also to show you how we can go ahead and move those objects out of the way. The next tool that I want to talk about is the Polygon tool. So you would go into where the line is, and you're just going to select the Polygon tool instead. And this tool will allow you to create a polygon. You just click and drag, and you can complete it by going to the first point, and I have created a weird shaped crown, and you can also select it to move it around. So I'm just going to delete that, and the next tool is our curve shaped tool. So we can create a shape that has a curve. Here is me just moving it around. Looks kind of like an upside down ghost. So if you wanted to delete it, you can always press delete, or you can also go to the undo button, and that is going to take that off of the screen. Again, you have those two options. The next tool is our arc tool, and this allows you to create any size arc. Of course, if you go all the way around, you can create a circle, and it'll give you the radius of it, and you can also size it up and size it down. Here we can just go ahead and move it, and we can move that around also, but we're just going to delete it so we can show you the other tools, and I'm going to delete these also. Before we move on, now that we know how to make a shape using the line tool, I'm going to create just a shape so that I can show you how those edit points work. So as you can see, it already has some points already there. Now I'm going to connect it to the one that first started it. We could always access the edit points by clicking on edit points or by double clicking on the image. And we see those points again. So I'm just going to move them around, and notice how I can change the shape of the original shape that I had already drawn. And it allows you to kind of manipulate it so that you can change how it looks. So we're just going to kind of mess around with it and see what we can create. To create another point, you just hover over with the mouse and you click, and you have a new point. So let's say I wanted one at the top. I click and I have another point. one over here. I'm gonna click and that adds a new point. So this kind of looks like weird looking waves. I don't know, but we can go ahead and delete that for our next tool. This next one is our rectangle tool. So you can draw rectangles or you can draw a square. If you hold down Shift, it'll do a perfect square. And you can also see the size here. You can change the width. Let's say I wanted 5 inches here. So let's type in 5 and 5, and you can have a perfect square like this also. I'm just going to change the size, and we're going to go back into Edit Points. And I'm going to go to that corner point right here and see how it changes the shape of the square. It's no longer a square. So this is just something that you can kind of mess around with at first, getting the hang of those edit points. Now I have a triangle. I'm just going to delete that. Our next tool is the rounded rectangle tool. These points allow you to change the curve of that corner. So if we drag them out all the way that we can, we will create an oval if that's something that you wanted to do. But there's another way. You can go to the circle tool and you can create an oval this way. If you hold down Shift, it'll do a perfect circle. Our next tool is the regular polygon tool, which allows you to create shapes of different number of sides. The default number of sides is 5, but you can slide the bar in the middle and that will allow you to create different shapes such as a triangle. Here we have a triangle here, a square, a pentagon, hexagon, octagon, and then you can just go all the way and you can create one with many sides. If we zoom in, let me go ahead and erase that. Let's zoom in at the top is where you can zoom in. But if you click on that one right here, it automatically zooms in for you. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more. If you grab the hand tool at the top, that is your pan tool, and you can move around your workspace. As you can see, there's still lines, so it's not a perfect circle. I'm just going to click on the fit to page, and that's going to zoom out. So now we have these 3 here, and I'm just going to delete them so I can show you the next tool, and that one is the freehand tool. So let's click on that. You're going to left click and you're just going to draw, and you can draw any freeform line, and that line is going to continue until the mouse button is released, or if you align it to the start point. So let's see if we can see the edit points here. I'm just going to double click, and as you can see, there's a lot of edit points. If you click on simplify at the top, it will reduce the image to its simplest possible point form while maintaining the image's shape. So again, that is the simplify tool. And you can change the shape once you click on one of those points. So let's do that. So let's say that you wanted to change a petal of this flower. You can do so by just moving those points around. And right here, I'm just going to undo so that I can bring those points back. If I go all the way, undo, it'll be right how I started. So again, that is the freehand tool. The smooth freehand tool allows you to create a smooth, continuous free-form line, so the lines have smooth transitions and no sharp angles. the line, you can draw the line and it will continue until the mouse button is released or the image is closed by aligning the end point with the start point. If we wanted to change those transitions, we can always edit the points and we can make flat. Here we go, we're making those flat. We can also make smooth and make curve. We can also make a corner and we can also break path. This will break the path of any line point. So if we zoom in, we're going to see that it is no longer connected. Now we zoom out and we're going to undo. So let's zoom in again and see that it was previously connected. The next tool is the text tool. And this allows you to place a text cursor onto your workspace and create a desired text using fonts that are installed on your computer. The green box is your text box that you can use to move your text around. And you can also edit text styles and size in the quick access toolbar at the top. So here I can just click down the down arrow here and change the font. So I do have to highlight it first and then click on the desired font. So here's another one. And I can also change the size of the text. So you can change the font that way, but you can also do this by opening the text style panel on the right hand side. So here I'm just changing the font. One easy way to do this is to highlight the text and then click the down arrow on your keyboard, and you can go through all of the fonts until you get to the one that you want. Remember that it will only show you the fonts that are already installed on your computer. The red blinking line is your cursor to show where you are typing. You may back up or move forward by either clicking your mouse or using the computer's right and left arrow keys. So once you choose the one that you like, you can move it around your screen. And you can also move the right edge of the text box to the left so you can wrap your text. Here you can also alter the text justification and bold, underline, or italicize the text if it allows you to. And I'm just going to go with this one. The letters here are not filled in. So if I click on the paint palette icon, that opens up the fill color options, and I can fill in the text so I can view them more easily. So here I filled it in with this color. And I'm just going to leave that one there because I want to show you the eraser tool. So let's jump to that one. With the eraser tool, you can erase any part of any image and remove the inner parts or the edges of the line image. So let's just erase some of this. Let's just say that I am done erasing here. If I click out of the eraser and back to the select tool, I can select all the little parts that are still left. Okay, let me go back and undo. I want to show you the different outcomes that you get when you fill in with color and when you don't. So I'm just going to erase here, and I have a rectangle that isn't filled in. As you can see, I get two objects that now look like staples. Okay, let's go back, and I'm going to fill it in this time. Now that it is filled in, I'm going to erase again. So when I fill in and I erase, I get two objects that are filled in and that are closed. Now we can try the knife tool. The knife tool allows you to make a straight line to cut separate parts of images to create a new separate independent shape. So we get the same results as the first time that we did it with the eraser. However, now it is a straight line. Here our rectangle is not filled in, so let's see what happens when we do fill it in. So I'm just going to fill it in with this color. And I'm going to take that knife tool and cut it. And now the separate images are filled in and they are closed. So that's a neat trick that will be useful when you create your own designs. If you click the Shift key and drag the knife tool, it will keep the line straight. Even if you move it up and down, it'll still do the horizontal, vertical, or the 45-degree angle cuts. And those are pretty much the basic drawing tools. Now let's put what you learned into practice, and we are going to design a really simple bookmark. To make a bookmark that looks like this, we must first create the bookmark shape and decide what size we want it to be. Let's say you wanted to make it a rectangle with sharp corners. You would just use the rectangle tool. However, I like to make mine with rounded corners, but essentially you can make your bookmark any shape. But this is an easy shape to start off with. If you wanted your corners to be more round, you can just adjust those corners with these points that are at the top of the bookmark, just like I showed you earlier, and you would have an oval bookmark. So you can decide at this point the shape that you want it to be. I think that I am just going to go with the regular shape, so I am going to delete these and stick with the default rounded rectangle shape. At this point, I'm just going to change the size of the bookmark. I'm going to change the width to be 2 inches. And I'm going to change the height to be 7 inches. So now I want to make the bottom look like a 2-point pennant. So there are different ways that we can do this. For the first method, we first have to create a triangle. Remember that we can do this using the regular polygon tool and change the number of sides. Okay, now we have our triangle, and I need to size it down since it is too big as it is right now. I can drag this bottom corner upwards, and that will make the triangle smaller. Now I'm going to drag it over to the bottom of the bookmark and see that it is not lined up with the corners of the bookmark. So I'm going to drag the sides out to make sure that the triangle is in the middle of the bookmark. You can hold down Shift and click on both shapes. At the top, you can align center, and that will center both shapes. Great, now we have to fill in the color of the rectangle. So let's choose a color to fill in. We need to fill in both the rectangle and the triangle. So I'm going to go with this yellow color. So I do the same with the triangle. Okay, if we zoom in, we can now see that the triangle is sitting on top of the rectangle. Now we have to grab the knife tool And we are going to cut the side of the triangle starting at the top. We can even zoom in. So we start right here, and we're going to drag it out and release. Once we get it, there you go. We do the same to the other side, so click, drag, and let go of the button on the mouse. And there you have it. Let's zoom out, and you can always drag that piece. And if we zoom in, we see that it's not really that perfect. We still get that weird little notch in the middle. So let's zoom out. It's not a big deal if we zoom out, but we want to make it perfect. So let's undo all of this. That was method number 1. We should undo until we have the 2 shapes filled in and centered. For our second method, select both shapes and left click and go down to where it says Make Compound Path. Now we created a gap where the 2 shapes overlap. Next, you can grab the eraser tool, and if you really wanted to, you can erase all of the extra bottom part that is left from the triangle, but that is not necessary because 2 shapes were now created, and you can drag that bottom part out of the way and delete. If we zoom in, you'll see that the cut is perfect and that we don't have that unevenness in the middle. That to me is the method that works the best, but there are other ways that we can do this. So I'm just going to move this off to the side, and let's grab that polygon tool, and we're going to make that shape. So start at the bottom and click and drag until you have created that similar shape. So here I am just trying to get that shape. I hold down Shift and I'll make those straight lines. We have to remember to close the shape. And now you can check if it is even by creating a straight line. We can create a straight line by holding down Shift anywhere near the middle of the bookmark. And next we are going to select both the line and the bookmark and align center. Let's zoom in, and just as I predicted, it is not centered, so this bookmark is not even. And we can even do this to the other bookmark. So let's drag that line over to the left. And we'll do the same. So sometimes it helps if we drag one shape off to the side so you can select both. Here we go, let's align center. And that is perfectly in the middle. Now I don't want this bookmark or the line, so we can select and click delete or backspace on our keyboard. And of course, if we really wanted to have that uneven look, you can use the smooth freehand tool. And also you can use the regular freehand tool. And this can be pretty tricky to work with. But you can make this however you want it to look like. If you're okay with these shapes for your bookmark, then that is okay. But I'm going to go ahead and delete these 2. Now you can add your name to your bookmark by adding text and editing the font. So type out your name. And you can edit the font by clicking on the A on the right hand side, and I suggest the stencil font for this project. If I drag over while in text box, it will align itself with the lines on the bookmark. But if you click out and select the text, it won't happen. I'm going to place it in the middle and size it down. Your name might be shorter or longer, so you can take this time to fix the size and the position of your name. You don't have to, but I am going to place it in the middle by aligning center, and I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to drag it down towards the bottom because I want to add a hole at the top to add a ribbon or a tassel. I have to align center again because I did move it. Great, so to add the circle, you need the oval circle tool. You hold down Shift for a perfect circle, and you're going to align that to the center as well. Okay, now I am going to select all of the objects here. And I'm going to make compound path. Not release. Nope, there we go. Make compound path. And now we have a bookmark with our name and a hole that is cut out. Now remember that you have to keep the bookmark in the active cutting area and within the red lines that are along the sides. Anything that is in the white space will be cut, and anything out of the white space will not. Remember to be mindful of those red lines. I think that is a common mistake because they are so thin and we can barely see them. But if we zoom in, see here, it would cut off the top of the bookmark. All of this part will be cut off. So we can just move it down a bit. Now that we are done, we can save our design by going to File, Save As, Hard Drive. So you have the option of saving it to your computer. And you can change the file name or the file location. So I'm going to change the file name here to bookmark, and if I wanted to, I would save it. And you can also save it to your library if that was something that was set up. The library is a kind of a cloud-based location to save your designs. And you can access it as long as you have internet and you log in. I will be explaining more on how to send it to cut and how to send to cut your first project in part 2. But this is a sneak peek of how you would send this bookmark. I use regular cardstock plain for this. I don't change any of those settings here, but nothing is connected, so there's not much that I can show you at this point. So that is it for part number 1. There will be a part 2. And I really do hope that you learned something new and that you give Silhouette Studio a try. There's so much that you can do with it. And a lot of people always have fun creating things with vinyl. So we'll make sure to show you how to do a project using vinyl. I'll be showing you how to use these tools on the right hand side on our next video, and all other basic tools that you need. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.